how's y'all doing? This is your host, Mr. Blow Your Minds, and welcome to Black Minds News Report. First and foremost, I want to say what's good to my family, and my subscribers. What's good to each and every one of you. Thank you for clicking on the videos. Passerbyers, if you just happen to pass by due to the thumbnail or the title of the show, welcome to the most hated show in YouTube. Go down the aisle. We always got a grand opener. Happen to see something that make you feel some kind of way. Remember, the motto of my show is the truth. Don't need no partner. Coming to you, today's date is September the 13th, 2020. And there was a disturbing story that I see that some of y'all might have seen yourselves. And due to the simple fact that you did see the thumbnail, but let's just look at this. Let me show what I'm talking about here right quick. All right, it says Clayton County, Georgia police officers under investigation after choking and beating black Lyft passenger who refused to show ID. Let me say that again. Clayton County, Georgia police officer under investigation after choking and beating black Lyft passenger who refused to show ID. Just imagine back being in school, we're going through the hallways and not having a tardy pass, and they would take you in the back room and beat you down because you didn't have a pass. Well, it looks like that's what took place here. Again, let me give you a little backdrop on this story here. Or maybe what I'll do is, before I give you the backdrop, let me give you the visual too, because maybe some of y'all have not seen this. Some of you might have seen this. And again, I don't want to be playing this to, make people be afraid or feel some kind of way. The truth is what the truth gonna be. It's gonna be harsh to see. People are going to feel certain kind of ways, so we give caution to those who are a little weak of mind and heart and spirit that what you're about to see here is what took place, and we're about to teleport back to that particular when it happened. So sit back for 1 second as we go back, check this out, and we'll be right back.
My hand! Stop, man! Don't fight him! Mars, call the radio! Oh, God! No! I'm gonna call your mother, too! Oh, God! Y'all cannot do this! Y'all cannot do this! I'm running down! Get out of him! Get the fuck off him! No! Don't kill him! He said he can't breathe! He said he can't breathe! Officer! He said he can't breathe! He said he can't breathe! What's that, boy? You can't get him in handcuffs. Get a handcuff on this hand over here. He's bleeding at his nose. Get a handcuff on that hand. He's bleeding at his nose. Got a handcuff. All right. Hey. Roll over. Back up. Back up. Yo, where's your car at? Where's your car at? Is this your car? Please. Who is it? You know her? He was giving us a ride. Okay, you need to get back in the car. He needs to pull the car over there. Pull the car over there. Man, you okay? Ma'am, get in the car before you end up in handcuffs.
All right, we are back. So that is what took place according to what you've seen through the video. This happened in Clay County, Georgia, where you see the Clay County Sheriff Department who are now under investigation for what we see as a vicious beating of a black passenger in a Lyft. Okay? And so we understand that the unidentified men at this present time, due to the situation that this is still investigated and they have not released. But the unidentified man, again, as I said, was a Lyft car passenger. Right? And so what we see once again, it seems like the creator keep bringing back when situations come when you just think that it's over with, and then people who are in opposition, again, let's just say what's going on with the NFL, NBA, and so forth, and athletes making their stance, we see what people keep saying, that it is a fabrication, it is not statistically true, that there is no such things, but yet the all-seeing eye keeps catching situations that I would like to hear of any of you who are in opposition to the stance that people take as to protesting and about defunding and all that stuff. Tell me your position. You keep seeing these stories that keep reoccurring. What do you tell yourself? Do you find the loophole and try to find that the person that is being apprehended is in the wrong? Or is it what we know it to be, right? So we see there that this individual was also in the car, according to reports, is talking about he was in the car with his cousins. You had the Lyft driver. It sounded like there were some children there. I don't know if they've never said anything in the report, but we do hear the children screaming. And that according to what they said in the reports is that a Lyft car had been pulled over by the Clayton County Sheriff Department, and they said according was about a tail light was out. Now just imagine that. A tail light is out, but this is the result that somebody is getting in. Just look at this. This was a consumer, right? Here is a person who was being in the car, and the car of the service that you're using is being pulled over. So why did the police officers feel the need that they needed to ID everybody in the vehicle? Because wouldn't you think and just imagine that when the police came and accosted the driver and asked him for his ID and so forth, did he not mention the fact that he was a Lyft driver? Did that somewhere, or was that not really mentioned? And why was it so gun-ho that they needed to make sure that they were watching this individual? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they were watching him, right? Maybe all this stuff will fall out later on as time go on, but according to all the details that are out right now at this moment, but we had to kind of speculate to try to get some understanding of what we seen there. What we see there was very harsh for our eyes. You see the brother, well, you got two individuals on top of him. You even see that it's kind of like a smothering situation, right? Like I seen some things that, again, I guess people are going to tell us that this is part of the police protocol and that there was nothing wrong. This was, exacting the fact of what they do. So you see there on your screen there, right? Do that look like that? Is that part of the police, policy, is to put your hand over the person's nose while the other one is choking you out? And then they got all on, both of their weight is on you. I mean, it's like trying to take all the, the breath out of an individual. Now, this is probably tactic, but according to what the report said, this is all about not showing an ID. Isn't there a part where, let's say, for instance, let's say for myself, I don't know about you, do you know your driver's license number by heart? Like you got to know your social security number, telephone number, mama's number, daddy, there's a lot of numbers that you got to retain. And a lot of people, because you're not built from the old school way, when we had to write everything down and keep it in memory, you rely on what they say smartphones. Well, we rely on our memory. And so if you a person, especially advice from me to those who are BADOS, Black American Descendants of Slaves, if you don't have an ID, and if you can get a police officer to hear you and just start reciting your driver's license number, right? Once he recognizes that what you're saying is the driver's license number, then he can write that down and then he can go accordingly, and he can't, it's under discretion of the officer. Now, he might be gun-ho that I need to see some picture ID, but that number in itself will go into his system to give a description, a picture, and so forth of all the identification you need. Just for food for thought for those who might not ever heard that before. Times have changed. People who are under the officers and uniforms these days are not as patient, right? A lot of them are very high strung and ready for action, right? So just imagine that you rendering a service, police, they're getting pulled over, and somehow you get into this altercation where you heard the brother saying that he can't breathe, he's about to die, right? His life flashing before his eyes. You see the woman, she's screaming, right? She can't believe what she's seeing. The children seeing him like that. His face is bleeding. And you see these two, police officers who just seem to be about trying to put handcuffs on. But what caused the situation to become so confrontational and physical? And we're only talking about an ID, right? And so now that they're kind of like hesitant to get the story all out there because everybody got to try to work out and try to get their part so that they can go ahead and put this PR work to it. But Black Minds News and other black sources out here, we're going to tell it from our position on how we see it and our interpretation of it. But, that's just crazy when you see that, right? They even say that Clayton County, Georgia police officers under investigation after choking and beating black Lyft passenger who refused to show ID. Now, again, the word's going to be saying refuse, which means that he's not complying, right? When they say refuse, automatically they're going to say you're not complying. And that is for some people justification. Those people who hide behind the fact that they know what they see and they don't want to put any blame upon the administration and the department. The word in that title you see is refuse. So that tells those who are looking for a exit to escape, break the glass, to keep it on what we want it to be. There's your word, refuse. So that means there was a non-compliance part. There was not obeying my order, right? And so can you imagine you being a passenger and then you being, requested that? I done seen videos too where I see people who are getting pulled over and it's like automatically they're going to the passenger. When did that start becoming part of the law? That I'm supposed to question everybody in the car when the only person in the car is the one that's driving. That's the only one who broke the violation. So what allows you to be able to go and ask everybody in the vehicle for their ID? So if some people don't believe that this is not becoming such a police state, then I don't know what else to tell you. So we see that, the two individuals, the roughhousing, the beating, the punching in the face, saying you're trying to handcuff, but again, I forgot who it was that I had heard where they said, well, see, when you refuse and do all that, you end up dead. But then if you can just live to get to court, let's just say what we seen in there based on that video, I guess we're going to have to be able to see from the officer's position from their camera. But based on what we've seen them on the ground. There's a lot of people on the position of where the officers are going to say, well, there's not the entirety of the video. So you understand, you guys, they're just going to manipulate you and say, look, see, this is what happened. You don't see everything. The key part is if he's a passenger in a Lyft, what violation do you have as, law that actually goes into the passenger? Now, again, it may be lawful for them to do that. I'm just trying to figure out why would that be? Why would you need law to be, again, if this is a business, then the onus falls on the driver in the business, not the passengers. Now, I know that back in the day, there used to be hustles where people would use the cabs and doing and push stuff like that. I get that. But look how this situation has turned where you see him, his legs were shaking and everything. And I guess this is part of the protocol and teaching is when there's a non-compliance to put the handcuffs on, they're actually going to, snuff your lights out to get you in the handcuffs. Now, then when you die, then everybody want to say, oh, he had heart conditions, he had drugs in the system, everything else other than the fact of what we are seeing here, right? That's the teachers on everybody going to see it the way they need to see it. And so what they say also in the reports is that the fact that deputies had asked for license, but he didn't have one, right? Now, this was the Lyft driver. The Lyft driver who they pulled over for no tail lights didn't have a license. So how did it go from him to the passengers? Right? Was it any identifying marking on the vehicle that identifies as a Lyft? Did he announce and tell them? And so y'all as a passenger, y'all need to sit to the side while we, you know what I'm saying? How did it get to the passengers? All right, anyway. And so they see he asked the passengers for their licenses. And, he kind of questioned the officers as to why did he needed to show his ID since he had did nothing wrong, right? And some people will say, well, if you have nothing to hide and you didn't do anything wrong, just give up your ID and it'll have just been okay. But I mean, in a natural sense, if that's like saying, for instance, a lot of y'all have a problem, especially white folks. Now, if one white person done did me wrong, right? Why do I need to, again, go after all white people? And that's what y'all would say, right? But look how the situation goes when y'all in a situation that seems to encompass everybody, right? It don't make sense. It would have been different. It would have been, let's say, there was a family. And again, I thought it was the driver's responsibility and whoever the car is, but it just seems like lately they just been going everybody in a vehicle. So everybody is susceptible to being searched, which when did that come in? Yeah, I guess, when we don't pay attention to a lot of the legislations and law, things get changed and before you know it, you don't know it after you're going through it. So he decided that he wanted to refuse. He would say he had nothing wrong. So again, right then, they don't like the fact that you're questioning them, that they questioning you. So what we see in the video is what we saw, right? You hear the young man, he can't breathe. I'm going to die, right? He screamed. You hear the children screaming, right? And then you see him unconscious, which you could have been feeling he might have been dead. Because I still the reports haven't said whether he was dead or not, right? But you see him bleeding profusely too. We've seen the punches. You see him, ground and pounding his face on the concrete, right? And so we see that this video has gone viral. And so what we see is that the department is going to go ahead and do an internal fair investigation. And according to them, doing this since, again, I guess it started at 8 p.m. The day of the 12th, right? 9/12, I think this is originally when it happened. And so they're going to ahead and put the deputies on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation, right? So, just imagine you just had you had people in the stand for a football game, not because they were kneeling at the national anthem. They just show arms and unity about what has been taught about what, and then you have this segment of people in our society who feel like that is wrong, and yet the creator of the universe is constantly showing through these all-seeing eyes these situations. What a lot of people like to do is they want to go run and get the statistics. And again, those people who love to talk about data statistics, when I tell you this, I mean this. Until you, as an institution, if you build a black institution, Hispanic institution, Asian institution, and so forth and so on, until you are the ones who are building that, then if you say that a particular people lie, cheat, steal, skew, and whatever it is in order to make that square peg fit in that round hole, then are we to always take the data as exact and a fact? Do data lie? Do statistics lie? I can prove that they do for the simple fact that I'm the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. But I'll talk about that on my next show. But, so, with that being said, right? With that being said, when you see situations like that, you want to go try to get something to be factual to give validation to your position, other than the fact that what you see. You got now, I'll do that story later too, when they talk about with George Floyd. And they're talking about now, based on what they had found, is the true cause, the reason why he was dead. Not what was being seen and what had been done. And I mean, the natural, we're talking about natural progress, the natural, aspect of things. When it's naturally done, everything fits in this, except for when it's dealing with y'all. Everything don't seem to be natural. It seems to be, oh, well, there's some other contributing factors. No, what you see is what we're talking about. Why are you looking for other things other than the fact that what you see? Because the obvious evidence of the guilt gives you nowhere to run. And so people who, again, I hear a lot of people talking about something, well, the biggest problem in this country is overprivileged black men and guilty feeling white people. What are you guilty feeling about? All right? What could you be guilty about? So you can't be guilty if you have nothing to be guilty about. So if you're guilty feeling because there's some guilt in you of what one knows. But, teach his own, right? So that's what you see there, man. I mean, that's kind of crazy when you look at it because it just don't make sense, does it? Makes no sense at all. That a situation of something that you was rendering service from to end up because you didn't either wanted to relinquish your ID or did not want to comply with the request, that you got in a situation that almost cost you your life. And then those who are supposedly rendering justice, the excessiveness of that situation. It was very excessive. For no ID, what the hell would they have did if they'd have found a gun on them? You know what I'm saying? Well, they found a taser on him. You know what I'm saying? What if they found some pills on him? He can get that for ID. What does he get for something a little bit more? All right, so y'all tell me what y'all think, man. I just wanted to bring that to y'all attention just in case you didn't hear it. Again, those who want to help support Black Minds News over here, go to my channel, Black Minds TV, and subscribe. I got up to 19. Let's see if we can get it up to 20, 25, 30, right? So all those who are new over here, go over here. That's how I'm going to help build this channel so I can try to get up. Because, again, I'm the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. So the simple fact that they're doing everything, they put every kind of ban on me to make sure that all of a sudden now that I can't even get like 30 views. Can you believe that? I got 2.9 thousand subscribers. And you're going to say out of 2.9 thousand, and then there's people who are coming that ain't never seen me before, that I can't get none of that 2.9 thousand. Even though that I know that there's 1,900 of them missing. You understand? So I got all the data. I got all the records of that. But see, that's what I'm saying. These people will deny what is very obvious and with a straight ass face and act like, oh, we're not doing anything. But then you wondering why people are doing out here and protesting. And you saying you're angry because they're trying to bring light about a situation that they live. And then those people who you believe because they have money makes them not to be the same people as just not where the people they came from. See, the sickness, the psychosis of this. But nobody's going to ever be able to tell you there's something wrong with you. There's always something wrong with us. But anyway, go to Black Minds News TV, subscribe. Again, this is the most hated show in the black corner of the internet and YouTube. Until my next show, y'all. You know what I'm going to say, right? Until my next show, right? Until the next show.